Hi, everybody. How are you today? I hope you're doing wonderful. Welcome to another beautiful day. Before we move very far, quick visual descriptor. I have long brown hair, glasses, blue shirt, silver bracelet, coffee mug in the hand. We have some beautiful trees behind us and some soft light just kind of pouring down. Well, maybe it's starting to become hard light. It's getting a little heavier. Light can be heavy. It's kind of a wild thought. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Grab your coffee, tea, whatever it may be, whatever gets your day going. Of course, I have my coffee in hand. Pretty good. What gets you up in the morning? What gets you up out of bed? What gets you moving, thinking, talking, doing? Now, before anyone gives a silly answer, which, we have plenty of, I'm not talking about your alarm clock. I'm not talking about the smell of coffee percolating. I don't mean the dog jumping on your bed or the kids yelling into the bedroom or the sound of the morning train. No, when I say what gets you up in the morning, I mean what motivates you, what guides you, what directs you, what inspires you. What's your reason? That is such a big question. What's your reason? It might not sound like a complete question, but well, part of that's the point, and the rest of it is because there are so many answers. It doesn't just have to be your reason to be, it can be your reason to act, your reason to do, your reason to work, your reason to build, your reason to create some sort of legacy. What gets you up in the morning? What's your reason? Now, some of you out there probably have an answer right off the bat. You're going to be able to say something about it. Morning over there on Twitch. So glad to have you here joining us. So yeah, some of you are going to be able to give a reason, a really good reason, pretty fast. Maybe what gets you up in the morning is you want to give a better life to your family, whether it's your spouse, your kids, or an adopted family, some group of people that mean a great deal to you. But that's one reason. It's an amazing reason. And some of you out there, maybe your motivation, maybe what gets you up in the morning is a desire to leave an impact on the world. Maybe your reason is wanting to change the world, change the environment, make something beautiful. No one can answer the question except you. But what gets you up in the morning is so very important. And if you don't have an answer to this question, maybe now's a good time to consider why. Maybe you've never thought about it before, and chances are a lot of you haven't thought about this before. What gets me up and gets me going? What's my purpose? What's my meaning? The alarm clock. Of course. I knew that one was coming. I could sense it. I could feel it, the alarm clock. And let's be fair, for a large number of us, what gets us up in the morning is an alarm clock and the responsibilities we're supposed to be taking, right? We're supposed to get up, do our job, pay for our home and our things, and all that stuff. All that stuff that, it's just an expectation of life. And, that's actually a pretty valid reason too. If what's getting you up in the morning or are your responsibilities, cool. That's great. That's your place in life right now, and that's a place in life for a lot of us. I mean, how many of us out there right now are living day to day, having to perform that functionary role of bill payer, responsibility keeper, all these other things. I had to have a quick sip, get that coffee in. But, and you know, those functionary roles of responsibility, taking care of our home and our loved ones in our life, so very valid a reason and so very wonderful, because we need to decide. Oh, we're going to switch the camera right over here. I have to be mindful. We're already starting to get people coming to town from outside of town, which in and to itself, it's kind of wild to me that they're already showing up. But all of that aside, now, what your reason though is, what your reason, and then I'm gonna stay on top of this one thought. What gets you up? It has to be yours, and that's it. That's it. It has to be your reason. It doesn't have to be anyone else's reason. But I'm gonna take a pretty good bet that I'm right on one thing, that most of us out there feel like we have some purpose, or that there is a purpose for us. Now, we could get into the whole discussion about how we give ourselves purpose, or how purpose is inherent, or so many other things, but that's not the point of today's conversation. No, the having a purpose is, though. And that purpose, that meaning, that reason, that motivation, that inspiration to do what we do, that's enormously valuable. And it's enormously important. If you haven't given it thought, if this hasn't entered your mind, or if you've just been so busy you haven't been able to really explore it, which happens, life happens, we get busy. Take a moment, take 10 minutes of your day to think and to really ask yourself, what's my purpose? What am I doing? Or what do I want to do? What I want to do, what I'm doing, all these kinds of introspective things. What impact do I want to make? What do I want to leave behind, or what do I want to create? And that could be a business, a book, art, it could be music, it could be some sort of legacy, it could be environmental campaign changes, it could be a happy family, it could be good memories. That's one of those things too, and I want to revalidate this point. I want to validate this point very much, that just leaving behind really good memories, that's not a just. It's leaving behind really good memories, and if that's what your purpose is, you want to leave behind really good memories for whoever your circle is. That's a very valid life choice, and you should definitely be lauded just as much as the person who wants to start a Fortune 500 company. Because both of those are paths that we've decided upon, and we've made our purpose. So, to rewind back to the beginning, though, these motivations, if we don't take the time to really think about them, to really ask at least a few questions, we can find ourselves later in life asking, what is my purpose? And it doesn't matter if you're in your 20s or in your 50s or in your 80s. If at some point in time suddenly you ask, what was my purpose? What is my purpose? When whenever that question comes, address it. Go ahead. But the sooner you really confront the concept of your own meaning of life, and that's what should be getting us up and going. For me, I have like many meanings, and I think that's beautiful. And that's also very valid. Like in a lot of ways, what gets me up is this motivation to not only like do these videos and these live streams where we have these conversations, but it's creating the art, it's creating the poetry, it's writing the books, it's making the films, it's doing all of these different things, leaving something out there, and then hopefully those things touch someone else's life in some way, shape, or form. And that's like my big motivation. But I'm a storyteller. I am. I'm an artist. I'm a storyteller. So I like to tell stories with an abstract painting. I like to tell stories with a book. I like to tell stories with a film. I like to tell stories with a live stream where we just jump on. And that's as valid as anyone else. So, just give us some consideration. What gets you up in the morning? What gets you going through the day? And what's the thing that drives you forward? Whatever that is, that's yours. Embrace it. Love it. Be it. That's you. And you're awesome. Now get yourself an extra cup of coffee, tea, whatever it may be. You can all use an extra cup. I got one in hand. It's very, very necessary. A little bit of coffee just gets me going. And now somewhere nearby, there's going to be a link. So let me just talk to you for a moment about Without the Light, Volume 1, Penance and Toil. It was my premier fantasy novel. It's been re-released. It's now available not just in ebook and paperback, but in hardcover. And I'm really proud of that. Hardcover. But consider getting yourself a copy of Without the Light Volume 1. When it comes to my fantasy work, I dive deep, sometimes into a lot of different things. And Without the Light very much has a large rooting, not just in fantasy tropes and concepts, but also in exploring social injustice and systematic injustice. It goes to look at all sorts of different concepts and ideas. So you can read it as a fantasy novel and just read it just at that surface at the top level and take your own interpretations. But if you look deep, or sometimes not very deep at all, you don't have to look very deep at all, you'll see all these concepts of hierarchies and artificial constructs and social justice and social injustice and confusion and trying to find your own way. And it can get heavy. It can. There are moments where it's a bit grim, but I believe in my stories, and I think that if you give it a shot, you'll really enjoy Without the Light. Not to go on too much, but if you could go ahead, make sure to leave a review if you get a copy. Those reviews mean the world to authors like myself. They help other people decide whether or not to read a book. And they also make the book more visible. Because one of the things about online search algorithms, if you look up anything, is the more people who've reacted to something, whether it's a review, a like, a comment, whatever it might be, the more people are going to be shown that thing. So do consider leaving a review. It would mean the world to me, and it would help lots of other people out there find my books. But I'm going to wish you the absolute best day. Be excellent, stay safe, be well, and I'll see you all again real soon, okay? Bye, everybody.